We're going to hear a specially prepared video recorded by Ursula von der Leyen, the President of the European Commission.
President Radev, dear hosts at The Economist, and distinguished guests. It was a hot summer's day, sweltering in fact. It was June the 20th last year, and the temperature was 38 degrees Celsius. A day when families in Varna or Burgas might put on their swimsuits and head to the beach for some fun. But the location for the scene I am describing was not the Black Sea coast. It was eastern Siberia. When I contemplate the year ahead, I see two distinct futures. In one future, surreal scenes like this become more and more prevalent. We see wildfires like the ones that ravaged Greece and Italy. We see floods like those that devastated Germany and Belgium. We see a continued loss of wildlife habitat, which may lead to more zoonotic diseases like COVID-19. In the other future, things look different. Europe embraces the clean energy transition envisaged in the European Green Deal. And by doing so, we continue to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, the European Green Deal unlocks new opportunities for economic growth. Young people obtain critical skills in engineering, science and technology, ensuring their success in the changing global economy. The European Union and its member states continue to advance on our collective commitment to become the world's first climate-neutral continent by 2050. And as first mover, Europe begins to export technological and financial innovations around the globe. Together, we pave the way for fair and just economies, fully reconciled with our planet's health. Dear guests, I know which future I want for 2022. And today Europe has the vision, the plan, and the investment to lead the way to a greener, more equitable world. Let me focus on investments today. And I'll talk about Bulgaria, knowing that the situation is fairly similar in other countries in Southeast Europe. I would like to begin with public investment and then move on to private investment too. Because I know our investment needs are huge, especially in a country like Bulgaria that has to take a bigger leap to achieve climate neutrality. But the public resources we are mobilizing are also unprecedented. Roughly 1/3 of our recovery plan, the big Next Generation EU, will help achieve our green goals. That means over 240 billion euros. Next Generation EU has, for example, 6.6 billion euros in investment ready for Bulgaria. This equals to more than 10% of the country's gross domestic product. And with these resources, Bulgaria can substantially speed up the decarbonization of its economy while also accelerating its recovery. And these two goals go hand in hand. The economic case for decarbonization is getting stronger by the day. According to the International Energy Agency, solar power is now the cheapest electricity in history. It is cheaper than oil and gas in most major countries. And Bulgarian companies know this very well. In a decade, over 2,000 enterprises, many of them small and medium, have decided to install solar panels on their roofs. Bulgaria's business sector wants clean, cheap, and reliable energy. But it's not only about energy and energy prices. The green economy is creating good and sustainable jobs all across our union. Poland, for example, has become the European Union's largest exporter of electric buses. So now new factories producing electric cars are opening all across Central and Eastern Europe, including in Bulgaria. These are the jobs of the future. And to ensure that these jobs will be in Europe, we must invest in them right now. All across our union, Next Generation EU is financing ambitious projects to speed up the green transition. For example, from clean urban mobility in Croatia to offshore wind turbines in the Baltic Sea. Or in Greece, Next Generation EU will accompany the phase out of lignite with investment ranging from land restoration just to the creation of new solar power plants. And for Bulgaria too, this is the opportunity to reshape its economy for the next generation. We all understand that the transition won't happen overnight, but delaying it would only make things worse. Right now, European countries from Spain to Romania are retraining their miners, for instance, as wind farm technicians, because today's training will bring tomorrow's salary. Next Generation EU, together with our Just Transition Fund, can invest exactly in these workers and in their future. Today, Bulgaria has everything it needs to succeed in the transition, and I hope the new government will take a bold step forward and shape Bulgaria's future. Of course, I know that public investments alone won't work miracles unless they are matched by strong private investments. Almost every week, The Economist is raising questions about the return of big government in Europe and elsewhere. So let me be very clear on this. To achieve our climate goals, 2022 must be the year when the private sector comes to the front again. What governments can and must do is to create the conditions for this to happen. And this has been at the core of our work with the European Green Deal. For instance, we have expanded our system to put a price on carbon, a market-based system that naturally encourages to shift capital towards climate-friendly, clean technologies. Or another example, we have built new partnerships with private investors and foundations. Take our Catalyst program with the European Investment Bank and the Gates Foundation. That's a good example. It will attract new capital towards the critical green technologies our planet needs. For example, from sustainable aviation fuels to the long-duration energy storage. As a third example, we have put forward the new taxonomy for sustainable investments. Countries all around the world are working on similar systems. But Europe is now presenting the first green list classification system in the whole world. And we're proud that Europe is leading the way. Because our taxonomy gives investors what they need in the times of uncertainty. Clarity, transparency, predictability, to plan their investments in our economy and for our planet. So the energy we need for the clean transition won't come from big government. It will come from big innovations, big ideas, big investments in our future. It will come from businesses and families all across our union. Dear guests, the battle against climate change is a race. And every race needs a leader, the person or team that sets the pace and gets the field moving. Today, Europe can be that leader. With the European Green Deal, we have set a clear vision for our future. With Next Generation EU, we have mobilized unprecedented resources towards that vision. But our collective success will require everyone to engage, every member state, every business, and ultimately every one of us. The World Ahead Gala is about the future, is about predictions for the coming year. This time, I suggest we do not engage into predictions. Let's not leave the future up to fate. Let's make 2022 the year we want it to be. The year Europe led the world towards a greener, more sustainable economy. Thank you very much for having me.